The carnage and chaos is back as Ruben Amorim was sacked this morning by Ineos. Get your thoughts and opinions in the chat because we will discuss them throughout today's video. Big shout out to everyone out there who continues to support the channel.
Well, 9:45 this morning, Ruben Amorim left the building at Carrington after a short meeting and he was sacked. But after last night's press conference, many people actually think he got himself sacked. Carnage and chaos. We predicted it and it's back.
Yeah, a lot of you's getting involved. The chat's getting absolutely hammered and we will get onto your opinions throughout today's video. The Man Born, welcome to our members club. Super chats come through as well. Jenisha from our members club, thanks for your super chat. If a player calls out the manager, you're transferred out. So Amorim calls out his bosses, he's sacked. That's the way it goes.
Well, best in class. It's been carnage inside there. Obviously, Ruben Amorim's been dissatisfied for a while, being undermined inside the club, people leaking things. That's what's been alleged. But listen, at the end of the day, Ruben Amorim, poor results and everything. They were looking at the end of the season for improvement, and that's when they were going to sack him. But he's called it on. He's had enough of it, and he wanted out now, and he got himself sacked. I look at it. You look at the managers over the years, players have down tools and got managers sacked. This time, it looks like internal interference has done Ruben Amorim, and he's had enough, and off he goes.
Yeah, just to read the official statement from Manchester United, in case you've not already read it, it says Ruben Amorim has departed his role as head coach of Manchester United. With Manchester United sitting sixth in the Premier League, the club's leadership has reluctantly made the decision that it is the right time to make a change. This will give the team the best opportunity of the highest possible Premier League finish. The club would like to thank Ruben Amorim on record for his contribution. And Darren Fletcher will take charge of the team against Burnley on Wednesday. So that's an interim basis. Will we see him make a move for any other managers out there on a permanent one? I want to know your opinions on that.
Well, they're not prepared for another manager. Ratcliffe told us in October, Ruben is here to stay. And obviously the dissent, what's going on inside, has prompted Ruben Amorim to be sacked. There is no other manager who they're looking for. I thought they were going to look at another manager based on the results and then terminate Ruben at the end of the season. This is proper carnage. And I just look at it and say to myself, all those people who wanted Ruben Amorim out, I did say, if you sack him in mid-season, it will be total chaos because this management, the best in class, are not prepared for it. They backed him. That's what they did in October. They backed him. But certain people inside the club were having none of it. And they were listening to outside influences, critics. That's what Ruben Amorim pointed to last night in his press conference. So he just came out, burst out with a few things, and it was untenable. He could not stay after that. So the manager got himself sacked.
Darren Fletcher as well, from what I've seen, plays a 4-2-3-1 in the under-18s. Will he continue that into the first team while he's in charge? And yeah, it's pretty clear. From my point of view, the plan was to at least keep Ruben Amorim until the end of the season. But with them comments that had come out last night, I think we were all pretty sure that this would actually come, whether it was this morning or over the next couple of days. And obviously the plan's not been put in place to succeed Ruben Amorim because of how quickly it spiralled. So I've always said, and I've got to get it out now, I mean, over the last 2 years, I've always said, in particular when Ineos first come in, that by rights, when a new ownership comes in, or a co-ownership, they usually make that decision and sack the manager straight away. And under Erik ten Hag, they made that mistake, in my opinion, of keeping him until the summer. They then extended his contract, which they then ended up sacking him for Ruben Amorim. But they should have got Unai Emery. It's as simple as that for me. Behind Pep Guardiola, Unai Emery is the best manager in this Premier League. I've been saying it for 2 years. The only two people who can suit the Manchester United job are Emery or Tuchel. So go and get it done for me, Manchester United. A lot of talk out there about Glasner, who's the manager of Crystal Palace. Not for me. A new hipster manager with all this new formations, tactical tweaks, all that sort of nonsense. Just go and get two managers who can take the pressure of this football club on the shoulders and basically know what they're doing on the football pitch as well.
Yeah, Darren Fletcher, interim manager. Will he be here for a couple of days? He's got the Burnley game to do. I think he'll be here for quite a while because no top manager is available at this moment. So it will be in the summer. Tuchel's got the World Cup. you know, you look at the Aston Villa manager there. He's flying high. He won't want to leave, but United are going to have to pay big money to get him. I have to agree with Kieran. That's the manager for me. He can handle the pressure and everything. So for United, with Darren Fletcher, listen, we're going to have up and downs with him. Is he a manager for Manchester United? Certainly not. He has survived inside the cult for a long, long time. He has jumped over people and everything. Now, you've got to look at it. Players are going to look at him and just say, you haven't topped the coached top players. So for me, he's interim. That's it. And then he'll go back to the under-18s manager. This, for me, I didn't expect it, to be honest with you. But as soon as Ruben Amorim come out last night, as soon as he opened his mouth,
nail in his coffin.
That was a nail in his coffin. And many people agree with that. People didn't want him sacked. People wanted to keep him. Some people were adamant he wasn't the right manager. But if he's not the right manager, it's the people in place, the best in class, what got him in there. And you have to question what's going on in the background. He said last night that I'm the manager. Well, we've always thought of him as a coach. So is he a manager? Is he a coach at Manchester United? What did he really want? They clearly wanted him. That's the style. Where do we go from here with the style?
I know one thing's for sure, though. We're going to see what Omar Berrada's made of. See if he's worth his salt as the CEO. The very same man who went out there in his pursuit of getting Ruben Amorim in. I mean, what does he do now?
Well, this morning, like I say, 9:45, he departed Carrington, and everyone was in there. All the board was in there, and they've got to make serious decisions now and make it work. Are we confident of that? I can't be confident of it.
No.
I just cannot be confident of them making the right decision. If they wanted to keep him till the end of the season, right, and then sack him, you have to say to yourself, well, how could they sack the manager if he turned around these results and got Champions League football? So the people who were undermining Ruben Amorim would have still been there, and Ruben knew that. So he called it on, thought there's no point, and I've got to agree with Ruben Amorim here, there is no point him just staying there, right, and playing like, oh, I'll just plod along. He didn't want that, and he called it out as it was, and he said, I'm out of here. And that's the right thing for Ruben to do. Call it out. We all now know that people inside that club, the so-called best in class, have undermined a manager when normally it's the players. So we are in a different territory here.
Matthew Hall, thanks for your super chat, my mate. Keep getting your opinions in the chat, so we will discuss them throughout today's video. I don't believe a top-name manager would come anywhere near us. They will look at the chaos of Ineos 2 years and stay well away. I understand what you're saying there, mate. I mean, the big decisions on Ten Hag extension, Dan Ashworth, and now Ruben Amorim, all in the space of 13, 14 months. It doesn't look good for the long-term future of our football club. But I'm sure there will be top managers out there who will look at this job and think, I can get better out of this team than what Ruben Amorim did. And if you look at the amount of slack that they actually give Ruben Amorim in terms of the poor results and poor performances, I think managers will be thinking, I'll go straight in there.
Yeah, well, you've got to look at some of these managers, what the names are in the frame. And you look at Tuchel. Is Tuchel a long-term appointment, really? I don't see Tuchel in that role as a long-term manager. Will they be looking at long-term manager? I'm confused about what route they take here now. And I think they are scratching their heads and going, well, what do we do? It's not a good sign. I look at Emery. Yes, he's a long-term manager. Is he a long-term manager at Aston Villa? No. When an opportunity like this comes up, Manchester United, and they go in for him, and they will have to go all out for him and just give everything to Aston Villa, whatever they want to get Emery, then that's the only manager I see. Proper Premier League understanding, knows what to do. And if you look at Aston Villa, how he's turned them around in such a short space of time, that's the type of manager we want.
Yeah, the first rule of thumb inside Manchester United, and it's been going on for many a year and still looks like it will continue into the foreseeable future, is you do not speak out publicly against the people who are running the football club, because we've seen it with Ralph Rangnick and now we've seen it with Ruben Amorim.
Well, once you speak out, it's the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
And the good thing about it is it stops all the speculation. It stops everyone going on and on and on about what's going on and everything. Right? They acted quickly. They did it this morning. 8 o'clock meeting, bang, out of the door, and it's now time to settle. The good thing about it is, if there is a good thing about it, they've got time to prepare. But can we really trust the people who are actually making these decisions now? And when a manager who's in the frame to come to Old Trafford has to look, Ruben Amorim was backed publicly when everyone out there, the critics and everything, were saying sack Ruben Amorim. He backed him. He's here to stay. Can anyone really trust the ownership and the leadership behind the scenes here now?
Do you know what? Just going back onto that super chat I mentioned about top name managers coming. Maybe some managers out there might think that the Jason Wilcox and possibly Vivell might be having too much say then with what's going on the football pitch and demanding certain answers as to what's going on, or trying to poke their noses in as to tweak what the actual manager wants to do.
Well, someone was poking the nose in, and Ruben Amorim was sort of alluding to, like, they were reacting to critics about his system, about the way the team is playing, the way the team is set up. So someone inside there has clearly changed the agenda for when they first appointed Ruben Amorim. This is the system they wanted, and people inside the club are now changing their mind, according to Ruben Amorim, on the backs of critics like Gary Neville and many, many other people out there.
Fred Cranham, has gifted 10 memberships.
Top man.
10 people who've been gifted their memberships. Give a big thank you to Fred the legend. I'm sure Darren Fletcher will be looking at this as a massive, massive opportunity. If he's here against Burnley, if Man United come out of there as 4-5-0, 5-1 winners, they'll go into the next game, after that. And if it produces a winning run, but fans out there are fickle. If he starts getting winning runs, fans will want and demand that he gets till at least the end of the season.
Fans demanded Ruud van Nistelrooy and all that, but you've got to say to yourself, Ruben Amorim did not get the manager bounce. So the shout will go up for Darren Fletcher, especially from those people, right, ex-players and all that, saying, we know Darren Fletcher is a really good coach and everything else like that. So there will be a shout. So if he gets that manager bounce and absolutely tears Burnley apart, then there will be some people shouting. But I'd be embarrassed. To appoint Darren Fletcher. I'm not saying he's a bad man or anything like that. He's come through the ranks. He's skipped people for jobs overhead. He's jumped them. How he's done that, I do not know. But for me, no one should be thinking about this interim manager even being considered. We have to go for the best. And Emery is the best, in my opinion, and in Kieran's opinion.
Like I say, I don't think Glasner's name will go away in the short term anyway, and you've got to look at it really. He was a product of Red Bull, manager for an interim period at Salzburg, also doing his coaching and becoming second in command there as well under a previous manager. And Christopher Vivell, as we all know, someone else who's worked inside Red Bull, was instrumental in bringing the likes of Benjamin Sesko here, again from Leipzig, which is Red Bull. So, if he's got his 2p's worth in, I wouldn't be surprised if he puts Glasner's name forward and puts out some positive vibes of why he should be the next Manchester United manager. Let me know what you think, Nolan Glasner. Do you think he should be the next manager?
Well, this is it.
Or head coach?
Yeah, I don't think people have got confidence in the people in the background who are actually making the decisions. Vivell, you look at Wilcox and that, lots of people for a long time have been questioning their roles about what they're doing, especially the recruitment. You look at it, he was promised to be backed, Ruben Amorim, and he's been very disappointed at it. There's no money. He was promised players. He's been let down. He sees that the promises have been false promises. Lots of people out there have criticised me, criticised Kieran, and criticised lots of other peoples with this opinion that there is no money. They've done all the cost cutting and everything. That was the priority, and the priority should have been on the pitch. Did they make the right signings in the summer? Did they fill the right places, what was needed for Ruben Amorim? Did he have control over these signings? Was he rejected in certain people he wanted to bring to the club? At this moment, we don't know. You never know. Ruben Amorim might come out and tell us how he felt about these transfers and that he wasn't backed. But from the outside, looking in, I don't think he was fully backed in the right positions, because since Ruben Amorim's got here, if Ineos wanted that system to be played, it was clear in the middle, the midfield was so weak, so open, it needed class players to be brought in, and they were never brought in, and they're not going to be brought in this January.
The thing is, it's humiliating, it's embarrassing that, what was it, 12, 13 months ago, they went and sacked Dan Ashworth because, by all reports out there, he wasn't fully on board with the appointment of Ruben Amorim, in particular with the lack of experience in the Premier League, but also his system in how he just wanted to stick to that. There was no sort of plan B. But here we are, like I say, 12, 13 months later, and the people who survived that are still in the background saying the same thing, that they needed to see change and seeing Ruben Amorim adapt.
Well, Dan Ashworth there, people might be looking at it now and going, they sacked the wrong man. The people inside the club who have been like talking or briefing press with these leaks and stories and everything against Ruben Amorim, they might be the wrong people. And I look at it and I think they are the wrong people. I don't think they've got the backbone, the guts, or anything for Manchester United to succeed. They were here to rip this club apart, and they are looking for me in the same way as the other previous men in suits. They are looking after themselves, looking after their own jobs, and not the big interests of Manchester United. I'm not saying Ruben Amorim was perfect, okay? No. I didn't like a lot of what I seen, but what I did do, I knew there was change, and Ruben Amorim was part of that change. He was ripping the heart out of this club, the virus, the poison, what was in there, and he was instructed to do that, and they haven't backed him to the hilt because there is poison in there. Now what we see is poison from the leadership team. That's how I see it, and I think some other people will see that as well. Briefing reporters about your own manager when you were supposed to lead this football club into change is an absolute disgrace.
I mean, what a time to be alive. We've all been used to over the years. It's the players inside the dressing room who have been leaking story after story, but now it's coming from inside the club against the manager. It's the first time in my lifetime I've known that to happen, and Ruben Amorim was very direct on that in his press conference after Leeds, saying he knew where they were getting basically the information from.
Yeah, well,
it's selective information. I think
it just tells you people on the board, people in charge, people in the leadership, right? They weren't sitting down and being honest with each other as a group. They were ignoring. They were fighting for their own position. Ruben Amorim has called out the academy squad, for instance. Well, that would have upset a lot of egos, and it would have also created a lot of enemies. And I believe that's where they started turning against him and briefing outside agencies against the manager. Should he have said anything about the academy? But he was always questioned about it. Why aren't you playing the academy? Well, he's turned around and said, basically, they're not good enough. They're entitled and all that. And United fans, managers throughout the years and that have always gone on about that academy. And it has always been looked at as like, this is what will change Manchester United. Well, he's turned around and gone against that. And a lot of people's egos inside the club, ex-players and everything else, what were associated with the academy, they've not liked it. And he's created lots of enemies. Should he have said something? Maybe not.
Just going to go into the chat. Full-Time Productions says, it's like meeting the right girl at the wrong time in your life. Done that a few times. Sure, a few people out there have done that as well. But I think you'll like this one, and a lot of older gentlemen and ladies out there. From Jeffrey, I'm still dreaming of the days under Tommy Docherty. Attacking football, it's United's DNA.
Great days under Tommy Docherty, but things have moved on. Society's moved on. Players' attitudes, the way they look at the team. You know, in them days under Tommy Docherty, they all played for the badge. Yeah. Absolutely played for the badge and loved the club. That's not what we've got. And people inside that club also fought for the club. That was the number one priority. Well, that's not the number one priority, as I see it, from people inside there who we've got to trust with the future of this football club. And I've always said, I do not trust Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and I certainly don't trust these people, because they are doing exactly the same as the men in suits did under Glazer and under, what's he called?
I mean, Arnold
and Woodward and everything else like that. Absolutely disgraceful.
I'm just going to throw something out there because it's just popped into my head. Will we see Marcus Rashford return to Manchester United in the summer? Was his banishment to that so-called bomb squad purely led by the manager, or was it a club decision? And then going on from that, will we see Kobbie Mainoo in a Manchester United starting 11 now in the near future under Darren Fletcher? I would bet my money on that.
Well, I didn't think we'd see Kobbie Mainoo at all, but you just don't know here. But if that is the case, Kobbie Mainoo comes straight back in because there was no suggestion that Kobbie Mainoo was going to be available for the Burnley game. Then you just got to say to yourself, how much carnage and chaos was inside that football club. Ruben Amorim's known for a while this has been going on. Last week, I've seen his press conference and that, and it was strange, and people did comment about it. But then it just blew his top, finally had enough, and forced Manchester United. He told us that he would walk away from this club, and he's thought, I'm not walking away from this club. I don't deserve to walk away from this club. I want my money because you have undermined me and made me an absolute scapegoat for what's going on in this football club.
Ray Carl Brown from our members club. Thanks for your super chat, my mate. Have we changed? No. It's the same old story. And that's the thing here at United. You know, when Ineos come in, there was hope there for stability and something to look forward to the future. Some big decisions now that they've made have just fell back into all the fans' faces and in particular embarrassed them.
Well, I turn round. No, nothing's definitely changed. Nothing's changed at all. I did say if they sack Ruben Amorim, obviously he's got himself sacked deliberately. I did say this would put United back a decade, and I think this will put United back a long, long time. And the only way out of it is to get the top man. There's no point messing about with this manager. Oh, we'll just sort of bring him in for a little bit of time. What they've got Darren Fletcher in place. Well, he wants to start making sure that players, right, are all aboard the Man United train. Well, I don't think they are. Well, he has to pinpoint them. I think the men in charge, they've already pinpointed him. A lot of people have got to go. Ruben Amorim was forced to do the job. Maybe that wasn't really necessary for him to do that. The hierarchy pinpointed it, and they went this summer. More of still to come. And for me, Darren Fletcher, you know, he's just there as a yes man. And the problem is, a lot of people out there have been saying for a long time there is too many yes men inside that club, and they've gone back on themselves, back in Ruben Amorim. They've absolutely promised him everything. He left Sporting Lisbon midway through the season. He didn't want to leave, and they've just gone back on it. So can you trust? Can you trust these people in charge going forward? I certainly can't.
Just thinking there about the current squad, in particular Bruno Fernandes. You know, it wasn't too long ago he'd done an interview with, is it Canal 11? And basically went right back at the board in terms of he wasn't really feeling the love, so to speak, and them wanting him to stay. And if an offer would have come in, they'd have accepted it. Not long after that, though, we sat down with a proper PR push from the club at Carrington with Rio Ferdinand. But I'm just thinking, what's he thinking now? What's Lisandro Martinez as well thinking? What are they thinking about their long-term futures at a club who has not got any stability? Well, in the last 12, 13 months anyway, and since Ineos have come in.
Well, they will be looking at it and saying, what is the future of Manchester United? What is the direction? We've been told since Ruben Amorim come here, it's been drilled into us, this is the direction, this is the future, this is what I want. Not only what Ruben Amorim want, this is what Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the board wanted. This is the style of football. These are the type of players. We communicate. We're all in sync. Yes, we might not agree on everything, but we're all in sync. So the direction of the club, there was no direction. All there is infighting. People looking after their own self-interest. Yeah. I'm telling you, I look at it and think to myself, nothing's changed. Nothing has absolutely changed. And people will scream, yeah, it's because of the Glazers. The Glazers let them in. They're backing the Glazers. That's what people are saying about Sir Jim Ratcliffe. They're doing his bidding. It's just absolutely a mess. And I can't see the future. Sat here right now, and I'm absolutely freezing, to be honest with you, right? But I can't see the future. I don't know the direction, and I don't trust what I'm going to be told. What the statement they put out this morning is just pure PR.
Yeah, and you're looking at his press conference as well after Leeds, and he was basically telling the world that, you know, the likes of maybe Wilcox, Vavell, and probably others in there, maybe Berrada, they're listening to what pundits are saying with the criticism.
It's madness.
That,
Absolute madness. But the problem is,
and they're the ones steering the ship.
yeah. But they were complaining the other week about players stop watching social media, stop watching like YouTube channels or anything like that. They were trying to tell them to stop. And there you have the people in charge doing exactly the same. I mean, that is absolute madness. Telling the players and all that not to listen, not to believe what's being said. Just stick inside the football club. Don't get distracted. And there you are, people who are leading this football club in the background doing exactly the same.
Eric the King 7 from our members club says nobody in the press will call out the owners, the Glazers. Not really seen much of that. You could be right there, my mate, and it's more about the manager, what he's doing wrong, the performances on the pitch without going for the root cause of what's been going on at this football club for many a year now.
I think when you look back over time, when people are associated from the outside to the club, reporters, people who have access in there, people who claim to be United fans, who are reporters, who do sit in these meetings and that, they never call out the ownership. They're there, it's their bread and butter, they're there telling you stories, but also keeping stories to themselves, okay? They keep stories to themselves, not to rock the boat. So sometimes when you listen to these reporters, they're not telling you the truth, they're hiding the truth for their own personal gain. That's how I see it. And these people inside the club, running the club, they're not telling you the truth neither. They are looking after their own interests, just like a lot of reporters are. For me, two-faced, many of them.
I've already said my opinion, and I've done for a long, long time, way before Amorim come in, that I only want Unai Emery or Thomas Tuchel as the next manager of Manchester United. But I do agree with a lot of comments that are coming through on today's video that Ineos only want a yes man. Is Gareth Southgate a yes man? A manager that has worked within a footballing structure like they're trying to achieve here at Manchester United and that is currently in place. Do not be surprised, especially in the way Ruben Amorim's tenure at Manchester United has worked out.
I look at this club at the moment. I don't love this club at the moment. That's my personal feeling. I think we've just all been had over, and we've all been had over for one reason: money. People have come into this club. Yeah. They see the future, and what they do, they see the future, and it's all about money. And I think like the soul of this club, as it stands right now, this minute, I think it's just been ripped apart because it's an illusion what's going on. We've got a plan. We've got a future. We know what we're doing. It's just an illusion. The love of this club for me today, right, is on the floor. I just don't trust anything what's going on. Supported this club all my life, and I just see it. The old days, players played for the club. People what were in charge tried to do the best for the club. They weren't professional, but these people are claiming to be professional. They know what to do, and they're telling us, right, hey, trust us. I don't trust any of them. I think the soul of this club has actually been ripped apart because the illusion has just been smashed, and Ruben Amorim smashed that illusion last night, deliberately getting himself sacked and not being a yes man till the end of the season.
Yeah, some great comments there to wrap it up. Is there anything more, though, you'd like to add? Get any more questions in before we do wrap it up, though?
No, I what's name it on that note there, just talking about the soul of the club and all that. At this moment, you've just got to cross your fingers. But
the thing is, me and you mentioned in the summer, though, we all want a plan. We want to see a direction and a plan because it's been going round in circles for far too long at United. And I was willing, and I still am in a way, to give a plan time. But then again, they've just ripped up the plan.
They've just ripped
straight
up the plan.
away.
But
the manager has a lot to do with that, with his words and what he come out with in the press conference, because I still believe if he wouldn't have said them words, Ruben Amorim would still be the manager today, and he would be until the end of the season. But, I mean, it's just a kick in the guts that no matter what way you look at it, it was the wrong decision.
Yeah, well, I look at it in the summer. If they come out with all the PR, people to Jim Ratcliffe doing all them interviews when a new manager is appointed, talking about a plan, long-term plan. We've steadied the ship. We know what we're doing and all that. Well, I'll just be repeating myself about a plan. Yes, I like what I hear. A long-term plan. That's what's needed. Yes, there'll be carnage and chaos. I'll be saying the same thing again. I have no trust whatsoever in any plan now or in the future. At this moment, I'm absolutely just bewildered about how it's turned out for the manager, for the people in charge. I just think everything has just ended up. It's like a bomb's gone off, to be honest with you. And it's not pretty, it's not nice, and it's going to be tough going forward.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's some transfer news coming out in the next 24, 48 hours to try and dampen down their own mistakes with Ruben Amorim and his sacking. I know one thing's for sure, though. We'll hear it in the short term about a new 2 or 3 year plan, especially if they appoint a permanent manager.
Well, you've just got to look at the players away in the AFCON. What are they going to think when they come back? Absolutely baffling. You look at the players, all the players what have been signed. You got to look at Dorgu, signed by Ruben Amorim. That was his first signing. What's he going to think? What system is he going to play in? Will there be a place for him? You've got to look at like Kuna and Bumo, Ahmad. What system are they going to play in now? They won't all fit in the system with Sesko up there. If the system is going to change to what Darren Fletcher, I think, is going to change it. Darren Fletcher wasn't brought up with 3 centre halves, wing backs, and all that. So he's going to revert to what he knows. So a lot of players what have been signed, is there really a place for him under Darren Fletcher playing the way he wants to play this football team? No one's going to criticise him for the way he wants to set up this team. He's going to do it the way he's done. There's no other choice. But a lot of players might not be getting in this starting 11 under Darren Fletcher. And that in itself is going to bring, well, a lot of people are going to scratch their heads and say, well, where do I fit in at the end of the season here?
Well, let's just be blunt. Ruben Amorim's just told us too many people are poking their noses in on the way he wants to play, questioning his decision-making and his in-game management. So if you really think that Darren Fletcher will be putting his stamp on this Manchester United team, you're deluded. It'll be more like Jason Wilcox. Just going to go into the chat. Michael Lusty says, you're not going to get a top manager, Kieron. Wake up and smell the coffee. Well, I'll still keep beating that drum, mate, like I have been for the last 2+ years, that it's only Unai Emery or Thomas Tuchel who can take us forward now after Ruben Amorim. And on that note about a coffee, it's absolutely freezing out here, but I've enjoyed doing this, getting involved with our opinions and listening to yours as well. So please continue it in the comment section below. Smash that like button, hype, and also subscribe if you're new to help support the channel. We're on the way to 100,000, and this community is by far the best one on YouTube. We'll see you tomorrow. You take care. Much love. Thank you.
Thank you.